Hello, everyone. Slightly different setup. We have back to my high def camera and my microphone setup, but I'm standing up and talking to you rather than sitting down, and essentially lifting my shirt up for some other reason, um, because essentially I'm already protected off work, and that's fair, and I've had to tear down all my setup so I can project into my wall. So that's basically life, but that's fine. Yeah, yes. So we just watched Doctor Who. Can you hear me? Um, and yeah, I guess I'll start from the top again like I did last week. Um, Overall, yeah, an average good Doctor Who episode. Okay, the good parts are good, and the bad parts are bad. Now, if you've been watching my streams over the last few weeks, you probably guess which the bad parts are. Um, Still really don't give a damn about the companions' lives. Sorry, um, and it was just painfully slow. Okay, look, someone please tell me if I'm wrong. If there's actually genuinely part of a Doctor Who audience which genuinely cares about the subplots that we're getting with all these companions. Because narratively, they don't seem to be serving much sense to the plot. I feel a lot of the things which could have been conveyed, you know, with less screen time. And I think that's happened in the past. We've had some on run characters, companions, and seen things happen, and that's tied into the narrative plot. It's taken less of the actual screen time, and it's worked fine. This this was given much more prominence in the episode, and the only reason I can think of why they would do that would be essentially because they assume we care. Um, I mean, there's also whenever we go back to the companions and get these bits of their lives, there's no continuity really from the last time. Graham's an exception because his cancers, I think, has been part of his character's kind of backstory since we first saw him. But with Ryan, we get a connection with a friend who we haven't seen before. Like at least when Russell T Davis, who was probably the person who introduced the idea of companions' lives as a main thing to Doctor Who, because before Rose, we never really explored the lives of the companion. The closest would have been Tegan's auntie, and literally that was just like a single episode. Before then, we never really explored the ramifications on the home lives of the companions, at least not from the side of the actual companion's family. Then also T Davis of you know introduces kind of soap opera part of Doctor Who, and people either liked it or they didn't like it. But I guess because Rose, like her or not, was a considerably probably much more well acted and fleshed out character than anything we've got recently. Well, by recently I mean the last 2 years. Um, People cared, and we go back to Rose's story, but we'd already met Rose's mother, we already met Mickey, and and several parts of Rose's family, and they were recurring characters, and we got a sense of connection and disconnection, and how that played a part of Rose's life. We go back to here, and sure, Yaz's family is somewhat recurring, but even then, without any sort of consistency, like I could not tell you what relationship Yaz has with her family at all. I could not tell you what relationship she even has with her sister, and that plays some emotional weight into this narrative of today's episode. And then we get this random new underplot that apparently Yaz ran away from home, which has never henceforth been mentioned in any shape or form. That she had, at least not that I can remember anyway, that she had this kind of um, troublesome youth to run away. Like I don't know. I'm drawing from my experiences as a youth here, but you have something relatively and personally extreme to you has to happen for you to run away, and majority of people don't, you know, go as far as Yaz does to run away without that being something which goes forward of you in life. Especially as a character on TV, where things are much more simplified and you refer back to things as events that happened with much more prominence. But yeah, it's hard to connect with an emotional weight of a story which has no precedence for that character and it's just thrown in. And if you're gonna do that and it's gonna play narrative part of this episode, which it does, then that's fine. But then you don't put much weight in it. I guarantee you, we're never gonna go back to this in the future. So I have absolutely no idea what the references between Yaz and her sister were. And also, sorry, were they celebrating the anniversary of her almost running away? I've known people who have run away. And then come back. That's not something you tend to. I mean, I guess everyone's an individual. But that's a bizarre thing to hold an anniversary lunch for. Um, Like, it's not really something to mourn of. It's a stressful thing that happened, but it's not necessarily a thing to mourn about, and it's not something to celebrate about. So I don't know why you'd mark the anniversary, but whatever. And obviously with Ryan, his emotional weight is his connection or his distinction to his family. Now I like the fact that we end the episode with Ryan questioning whether or not he should continue to travel with the Doctor because of his concerns of how it affects his relationships with people on Earth. That's not actually been touched upon, I don't think, in that kind of twist. Like, obviously, a lot of Rose's arc was her disconnection with her family, but Rose as a character didn't actually seem to care much about the effects of her family. That was part of her story, and that's why personally I don't think Rose is actually should be held on the higher sort of hostel, no, platform, pedestal, that she is. Um, and then Martha obviously probably had a healthy relationship with her family, but she's also more independent when she travelled with the Doctor. So she wasn't that she didn't disappear. She wasn't a 19-year-old girl who fled from the monotony of her life. And the way it affected her sort of arc was she wanted to take care of her family. That's why she left. And that's pretty much all we've touched upon. We've never touched upon actually someone being like a companion who is actively traveling and then deciding, actually, no, I want to go back to my lives. Not in the way that I think Ryan has. I think sometimes companions left because they've got bored of traveling and they want to settle down, or they meet someone and want to settle down. But not in the same way that's being actively discussed before their departure. That I liked. But the rest of Ryan's, I mean, I hate Ryan as a companion. I don't know if it's his actors, Poison's fault as an actor, or just Ryan's really badly directed or really bad executed, or for some bizarre reason the critics think this is what a dyspraxic person acts like. Um, it's actually very possible they're confusing dyspraxia now with what the media perceives autism to be. But I guess until something explicit happens, I will not go fully ahead and call out Doctor Who. For that's problematic. But I've mentioned before. Every time Ryan goes off and has a sort of one-on-one interaction with a character, it's really slows the plot down because Ryan has no character and has no presence. And then for some bizarre reason, they always pair off with people who have equal or less. It was just two, very dull blokes talking to each other. And so I mean, Graham was probably Graham. Bizarrely, Graham was the one that was right. We dealt with his uh individual role in the story the least, but it was also the one that had the most precedence. It features a character who's a late character who his relationship with has played an active role in his character's background more potently than anything else. That was executed well. So bizarrely, they're very well at executing Graham's character. And it doesn't help Bradley Walsh is more veteran of an actor, but then everyone else it drags it down, and I just don't get it. And I kept thinking like I was missing something because it spent so long with the episode, and then I don't know. There seemed to have been all the. Okay, look, I've suffered mental illness, so I'm always all for portrayals of mental illness in media, and I think it's something which needs to be normalized. We need to accept that people have mental illness, and it's a normal thing, and it doesn't always have to be kind of doesn't always have to be kind of the forefront of every story, because then you're sort of making it this exceptional, extraordinary, unusual event when actually, it's a very normal. A lot of people have it. So I don't know. I'm in two minds. I'm glad to be included in the episode. Um, if for nothing else, to raise awareness, get people talking about mental health. But I don't know. As someone who's part of the mental health advocacy scene in a big way, um, it doesn't seem to really. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm used to more potent, bigger messages, or kind of more because of just from my background is what I'm used to hearing and that kind of and stuff. It just, but to me, it doesn't seem to really be driving any kind of need for a discussion. There's nothing kind of whammy about it. It was just kind of there. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't know if it's normalizing it in a way which makes it more kind of generally like this is acceptable, this is okay, this is what people go through, or if it was just if it was because narratively it didn't really like it wasn't an episode about mental health. That's what I'm kind of drawing at. It was about nightmares and pain and suffering, but like apart from when it was explicitly mentioned, it wasn't really obvious. Like it wasn't clear. So, okay, I got my thoughts get a bit more here. It wasn't clear if Ryan's friend was suffering because he had depression or if it's because he's been plagued by an alien. It could have been either one or two, and really for most of it, it actually seemed that it was just the alien input which was causing him distress. But then it revealed at the end that he was also had these issues, and I don't know if I'm meant to interpret all of the dirty plates as fatigue from depression, which is a very which is a symptom of depression, or just effectively. I still don't know which way I'm meant to be going, and that's kind of the issue with the with how the episode portrayed it, and I'm not sure where I'm meant to be drawing a line between his unnatural depression and the alien imposed depression. Because if you're gonna raise awareness about how normal and people how often you will meet someone who has mental illness and mental health issues, and then also conflate it with alien input, it kind of fuses the message. And I guess same as with Yaz, she ran away, so obviously she was, you know, mentally traumatized enough to want to flee from her own life. Um, but even then, it was like only really touched upon when it was touched upon that scene. I think that's why I don't. It's. I think that's why I wasn't really, melting with that part of the story, just of that message, because it was very much tacked on. And part of me wants to be like, well, that's fine because you shouldn't always have to make a giant hoo-hoo about mental health because it's not a unusual thing. But on the other hand, if it's drawing down the story narratively, it turns people away from the story because they're too busy being angry about it. The narrative is being shot down, and it confuses exactly what message you're trying to give along. The parts of companions are very, very slow. The parts of the Doctor and the Alien Presence, and the Alien Presence was like, okay, visually, a lot of this episode was very, very, like, there's a couple of shots with the cinematography I really, really loved in this episode, especially with the bad guys. The lighting they used was fantastic. A lot of the lighting in this TV show episode was quite on pitch. The bad guy, the right level of kind of serious acting, and I did appreciate the kind of fan nod scene where after they revealed he was immortal, they listed pretty much 5 or 6 other immortals from the classic series. We had Elementals who played a role, I think, in some of Sylvester McCoy stories, if not earlier. We had the Guardians who were a big role in Davidson stories. We had a Toymaker who was a villain from Hartnell's episodes way back when. I did appreciate all those kind of very casually thrown out references. And I do believe this was a very good, well executed villain. The motivations were simple yet effective. The acting was very well done. It was very consistent with how we expect kind of the immortal villains in Doctor Who to act. I like how the villain was deliberately in a postmodern way playing with what the Doctor expected the story to kind of all the villains plan to be. So yeah, I think the villains were good, and I like that part of the episode. I think that played out quite well. Again, as the pacing, I think the pacing was more equalized, and overall, it would have been a much better episode. Because once we got over the parts with the companions, I was way more into the episode, and then it kind of just had to go back to companions. And it's like, oh, when is this going to be over? What am I missing? That kind of jazz. So no, I liked that. We got short reference to the Timeless Child, but we obviously won't find out much more about that until I think next episode's the pre-penultimate episode, then the penultimate episode, then the final episode, I imagine. But the next episode is more standalone, so I'm not sure how much we're going to get there until we get to the two-part finale. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else, and I remember that was pretty much it. Yeah, the CGI looks very not maybe the oh yeah, the monsters look bizarrely like those weird gorillas from Temple Run. That was just something that occurred to me during the episode. I'm not entirely sure they aren't actually the monsters from Temple Run, especially when they were in the context of where they appeared. But the CGI of like the planets and the villains and visuals and lighting, I love that so much. So that was good. But yeah, those are my random initial thoughts on Doctor Who. Hear me. Next episode should be hopefully this episode should be interesting because we're basically gonna have Mary Shelley and Frankenstein being written, and that's I think a good that's like a good historical Doctor Who setting to explore. So hopefully we don't mess it up. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys same time next week. Bye. That's the wrong place. Oh no, wait! I was also meant to say, look at my top I got from the top 2 top. They sell came with a 3D glasses, so the pops out and it says clarity. So yeah, I want to show that off. I'll now leave.